Probably blow my nose. All right. So welcome to our Wednesday night team call. I'm so glad to see all of you guys on here. I see all of you guys, most of you guys that are in the chat right now, which is pretty exciting. And I love this new Zoom setup that they've got going on. I could see more people on the first page. I don't know if you guys got the update, but it is so freaking cool. So I'm really happy. I'm going to turn my sound off so you guys can't hear it whenever my phone's blowing up. So I want to start the night off sharing my story because I think it's really important that you know exactly where I come from and know that there's a lot of stuff that you and I can probably relate to, whether you enrolled with me or you enrolled with someone else. So I'm just going to start it off that 4 years ago, and I'm going to go a little bit more in depth than I would on Facebook so you guys can really hear me out. Okay. 4 years ago, I started this business in the deepest, darkest time of my life. I was struggling so bad mentally, physically, emotionally. Matt and I were fighting nonstop, and the money was a big, big, big issue in our life. We were losing our house. We just got the foreclosure notice, and that was a result of many, many different actions and different choices and decisions that I had made along the way that had led up to that. I did not understand that that was the reason why I was losing my house. I blamed everybody else around me. And so when I first started this business, I started in a victim mindset. I started this business believing that it was everybody else's problem but my own. I truly, truly believed that I did not have anything wrong with me, that it was everybody else that was around me. Okay. So that's where I come from. Now, I was not looking for anything when I started this business. Honestly, I was working 2 jobs in the medical field, at a nursing home and in a private care home. We were not treated the greatest. If you have ever been in the medical field, you know how that looks. You know how that feels. You know that you're very overworked, very underpaid and underappreciated. That's how I felt every single day. So I was surrounded by not only negative mindsets, but also people who had negative mindsets who looked down on me and treated me like crap every single day. So you can imagine that coming into this business, my mind was shot to crap. I was literally feeling like nothing when I first started. I really doubted myself before I even got started. And I told myself before I even got started that I didn't have enough time, I didn't have enough money, and that I wasn't smart enough, I wasn't pretty enough, and I was not skinny enough. And those were the things that really held me back because I watched the girl that was ahead of me, the girl that was on my Facebook and was in my inbox all the time. And I shot her down multiple times. I ignored her multiple times. And I even stooped as low as making fun of her multiple times. That's how you know that my mindset was absolutely horrible, because hurt people, right? I was very, very hurt. And so I turned it around and I was not nice to the people that were around me. And that included my family. And so we were going downhill very, very quickly. At the time, I had already been diagnosed by health professionals or whatever, that I was already diagnosed with PTSD, postpartum depression, severe depression, and anxiety, especially social anxiety. Okay. So these were all the things that I was told that I had going on in my life that would potentially hold me back in the future. So I was being told by people, on top of all the negativity that was going on in my life, I was being told that I would never be able to do certain things because of my mental illnesses that were going on. Okay. You guys see me every single day. And this is what's so crazy about it. You see me every single day. I am medication free. I do not have to take anything. And it's because of my mindset. Okay. It's the mindset that I have outgrown. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that tonight. And that's why I think it's really important to know my story before. So I got started in this business. And for the first 7 months, like a lot of other people, I did absolutely nothing. Okay. I would say the first 6 months, actually, because the 6th month I picked up, and the 7th month I brought the boom. Okay. And the reason why I brought the boom was because I knew why I was here at that point. When I first started, I did not know why I was in this business. I started honestly because I wanted a new truck. Priorities, right? They were everywhere. I had none. And so what I thought was I was going to get started. I was going to make enough for a car payment. And that's what I was going to do. But that wasn't going to pull at my heart. That wasn't what I was really struggling with externally and internally. I had to figure out my real reason why I started this in the first place. So at first, yeah, it was a truck. Then it shifted and I said, okay, well, maybe I could just help out with a mortgage and I could get my mortgage caught up, right? I was payments and payments and payments behind. We were losing our house. And so I had to shift my reason why I was starting this in the first place. And then another thing happened and I had to shift it again. And then I got given an ultimatum at my job, my main job, not my not my per diem job, but my main job that I had been at for 7 years. I was given an ultimatum telling me that I could either switch houses that I'd been at for 7 years, or I could quit and I could give my 2 weeks. So I didn't get any benefits or anything like that. And I chose to take the high road, and that I chose that I needed to quit. And so I gave my 2 weeks and I had to make it happen. I had to jump out of the nest, not knowing what was going on. I had no idea that this business could hold me up. I had no idea that this was going to be my future. I had no clue that I was capable of leading a team, guys. I had no idea that I was capable of not being on medications. And I had no clue that I was going to be right here tonight in the seat talking to so many of you. And so many of you guys are going to watch me on YouTube too. I had no clue, no idea, but I did it anyways. I did it anyways because I had nothing to lose. And so I jumped and I started working this business consistently every single day. I focused on the paycheck that I needed to be able to pay all my bills on time because I knew I was going to get cut down a full paycheck and I was only going to be left with a per diem paycheck left. And so I had to make things happen. There was no other options for me. I had to stand up for myself because no one was going to do it for me. So I stood up on my 6th month. I started really hustling. I dove headfirst in, guys. Anxiety attacks like you wouldn't even believe. I sent myself to the hospital one time. I'm not recommending this at all as far as quitting your job when you don't have it lined up. But I'm telling you, if you want a surefire way to make it happen, hey, that's how I did it. Okay. I had no other option. There was no plan B at that point. And I talk to you guys about that all the time. Now, there is a way to do it without having a plan B because you're going to have a visual of where you're going and what you're doing and what you want before you get to that point, right? But you have to understand that you've got to give yourself a date of when you're going to end and say, this is the date that I'm going to give my 2 weeks, right? And that's going to give yourself that hustle time frame that you have to make it happen in. So that's a great visual for yourself. That's exactly what I would have done if I would have started over again. However, what I did brought me to where I am right now. And so I'm so thankful that I jumped. I am so thankful that I did what I did. And I'm so thankful that all these events that have led up to right now led me to the Zoom call tonight and actually talking with you guys about all the things that I've learned. So with that being said, long story short, after 7 months of going, I went all in. I brought myself home full time. I was able to quit my second job, I almost want to say prelims. I don't know why. My per diem job, I was able to quit that job almost at the same exact time. It was like, boom, one was gone. And then a couple weeks later, the other one was gone because I had made it happen for myself. And then I went Emerald very shortly after that, and then Diamond a little bit after that. And then I went Diamond on Matt's account. And that's how we've kind of just kept things flowing consistently. So I think it's really important for you guys to know where I come from because I come from a broken background. And something that you need to know about me is that my family has never been there, ever. I have never had someone pat me on the back. I have never had someone come to me after a promotion and say, hey, awesome job, right? I've had downline come up to me and say things. I've had sideline say, hey, congratulations. But I've never had anybody that's been in my intermediate life that I talk to all the time, people that I grew up with, people that I talk to on a regular basis, ever look at me and say, hey, congratulations, awesome job. Nobody, not a single person. And so it's important to understand that you can be the one that claps for yourself. You need to outgrow that version of yourself that is looking around, waiting for people to clap for you, right? In this world, we are dancing for people who are not willing to clap for us. And that was my biggest problem with getting started with my business was I was waiting for someone to tell me what to do. I was waiting for someone to clap for me. I was waiting for someone to praise me. I was waiting for someone to tell me that I was going in the right direction. I was waiting for someone to hold their hand out, and nobody did. And so I had to pick myself up and say, Chelsea, you've been through hell and back. You've gone through this. You've gone through that. You were strong enough to go through this too. And so I wanted to kind of open this up with you guys tonight, sharing with you that we all come from an employee mindset. That's what they are teaching in these schools. And I know I've heard Christina say it multiple times that we wish that they would teach personal development in schools, and they just don't. Okay. They just started doing something similar to that in my daughter's school this year. And I wrote the principal to thank her for finally noticing this, because it is so important that our children learn these things, because our generation and beyond never did, and we never had the chance to. So I'm so proud of you guys for showing up on this Zoom call tonight and really investing the time into learning how to grow your mindset, and really learning from someone who literally went from all of that to where I am now. Now, am I an expert at it? No, I'm still going through things every single day myself, and I'm finding these hurdles that I need to jump over myself. But because I'm going through them, I get to teach other people what I've been through, and how to get over these things, and how to get through these things, and how to help yourself during a time where, you feel like you can't, or how to help yourself out of a funk, or a funk, so to say. We all go through it, right? I've been through it. Christina's been through it. Haley's been through it. Everybody's been through it. And we all will at some point in our life, right? So, we all come from that employee mindset, and this employee mindset, it's hard, because when we come into this business is an actual business, and you have to show up for yourself. And it's just like your traditional business, where if all your employees, end up quitting one day or telling you they can't make it in, guess what? You have to be the one to show up, because nobody's going to do it for you. Right. And that's the difference between your employee status and your business status, is that you have to show up for yourself. And that is the biggest difference. You have to figure it out. And when I first came in this business, I didn't know what it looked like to be a business owner. I had no idea what it looked like to own my own time. I had no idea what it looked like to show up, even though no one's cheering me on. No one is praising me. No one's giving me a raise. No one is, sharing things with me on how to. Nobody is really there. And I had to figure it out for myself. Right? Personal development was my biggest pull. That was literally how I got through all of those times of feeling like nobody was there for me, and feeling like I wasn't there. Guys, I got started, and this is something a lot of new people don't know. I got started, and within 2 months, my upline quit. Okay. So imagine, and some of you guys, this might have happened for you. You come into this business and your upline disappears, whether they're still in this business or they are not in this business, right? Maybe some of you have an upline who is there, but they're not really there. And maybe it's not because they don't want to be there. It's because they don't know how to be there. Okay. Or maybe they got started, you got started, and they quit. I know someone's on the Zoom call, at least one person who that happened to, just like me. Just know that it's okay. It's okay if they're not there. You have to understand, and I'm going to go over this a little bit more. You have to understand that sometimes, I'm going to speak on a spiritual level because I am. You have to understand that God removes certain people from your life because he sees things that you don't. When I first started, God saw that my upline had a really negative mindset, and saw that because I was a people pleaser, I would have jumped hoops for her and I would have gotten nowhere. He saw that I needed this more than I even knew that I needed it. And so he then took her and removed her from my life in a big way, in a very solid way. And I listened to this podcast this morning from Cheyenne Knox. If you have not listened to it, this hit me hard this morning. And that's why I was so excited about this Zoom call tonight, because she was talking about how sometimes we ask God to close doors for us. Right. And at first she was looking around saying, show me a sign, put a breeze through the window, if this is meant to happen, right? We need to start asking God to close those doors, slam them shut for us so that we know the right way. Make it loud and clear, right? Not just these little signs, so that we know. And it's going to hurt sometimes. And we're going to wonder, why is this happening? Why is life happening like this? But it's because he is preparing you in this season for your next season. because this version of you in this season will not survive that next season. So he is preparing you with everything that you need right now, right? And you could say God, you can say universe, I don't know what you believe in, but that's what I believe in. And so I'm going to preach it from my heart, because when it comes down to it, you are being prepared for that next season. And when you switch it around and you think about it like that, and you realize that these things are happening and these people are being removed from your life, and maybe your sideline or your downline is not showing up, maybe your consistency buddy is not there for you, right? It's because you're meant to walk this alone. You're meant to be stronger. You're meant to gain something from it so that you can take it with you on that next level. Okay. So that was my main thing that I wanted to start off with, is to understand that we all come from that show up, get paid type of mindset, from that employee mindset. And we also come from a microwave world. Do you guys know what I mean when I say that? Instant gratification. We are all looking for it, especially if you were born in, any time in the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s. And then right now, like dead serious, we are all growing up in a time where you can literally go up to a speaker box in your car, not even get out of your car, say what you want to eat, drive around the corner, and a cheeseburger flies out the window. Okay. It is important to understand that all good things that are coming in your life, you're going to have to wait for. You can't rush things that you want to last forever. And that is so ridiculously important to remember, especially when you're running a business. When you take it seriously, it will start to take you seriously, and the people around you will follow. So this is kind of the framework for what I'm going to be talking about tonight. And I'm going to lay some ground tips out for you guys, and these things that have shaped me personally in my business, and these just things that I've learned, these stepping stones that I've learned along the way that maybe you've heard of, maybe you haven't heard of, but no matter what, I'm a firm believer that you were brought on this Zoom call tonight and you decided to show up because you need this just as much as I do. And just as much as I did when I first started. So listen in on it. Take some notes down so you can then repeat it to yourself, so you can go over it later, so you can teach it to somebody else that's not here tonight, so you can speak it loud and clear, or the next time that one of these things happen in your life, you can look back and say, no. This is the right way. This is what's happening. This is why this is happening, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to give you guys a second just to get your pens and papers out. I'm going to quickly blow my nose. I know it's really weird. But then, and get a drink. And then I'm going to go ahead and share this with you guys. Okay. All right. So normally I have someone who's on here with me. So I normally just do that during this time, but had to kind of put a pause. So I hope you guys grab some of the right things down with and stuff like that, because it's about to be really crazy. There's probably going to be some things that I'm going to even come up with off the top of my head that I don't have written down on this paper, but it's just going to flow through me. And I'm just, I prayed for this tonight because I really, truly believe that someone's on here that needs it. Can someone write in there and tell Paige that it's going to be recorded? So if she needs to hop on afterwards and watch the whole thing, that's great. Okay. So tips I've learned along the way, and I have 6 of them for you guys, and then closing. Okay. So number 1, most days when you are running a business, you are not going to feel like it. This is one of the most important things that I've learned along the way. And I learned this, I believe it was from Jade Hooper, honestly, on one of her videos that she was talking about. And I heard it again and again and again and again and again, over and over and over again. And the reason why I believe that I heard it again and again was because it was meant for me. And so the reason why you're hearing this is probably because it's meant for you. Some of these days that you need to work your business, you're not going to feel like it. You're going to have days where your kids are acting absolutely crazy, where everybody around you is driving you nuts, where you're going through a really hard time in your relationship, where you're going through a really hard time inside yourself, where your mental illness is bubbling up and all the craziness is coming out all at once. And you just feel like laying in bed and doing nothing that day and binge watching Netflix. But I want you to know something, that when you don't show up for yourself every single day, your paycheck is not going to show up for you. And so I always bring it back to my why, my reason why I'm doing this in the first place. It rises and it falls on your reason why you're doing it in the first place. Because the thing is that I might not feel good enough to send those messages out, but I have to focus on my children need to eat this month. So if I would sit here and I would die so my children could get fed, why would I not send 10 messages today so that I can make sure that I feed my children, right? It's a lot less of a punishment than, actually taking your life for that. So think about those things. When you're thinking about your reason why, get specific on it. Get specific on it. Know exactly why you're here, down to the wire. Look at it like it is your only option. Because when it comes down to it, if you want all these things, your why should be something that's out of your reach without this business. Okay. So aside from this business, it should be your only option is to work this business to make it happen. So I might not feel like sending those 10 messages out, but how am I supposed to go to my kids and say, hey, listen, I'm so sorry you can't eat this month because mommy decided that she was tired a couple of days. When you repeat that in your head and you say it over and over again, it sounds pretty crazy. And maybe your why isn't as big as that. Maybe it's just so that you can get a new vehicle. Maybe it's just so that you can so that you can stop stressing about bills, right? But what do those bills go back to? What are the feelings that you would have if you weren't able to pay those bills? Think about those things, because that's so ridiculously important. Your why should make you tear up. Your why should be something that's so big and so close to your heart that it is impossible to forget. It's something that sticks with you every single day, that you see every single day, that you think about every single day, something that's underlying on your heart. This took me, like I said, at least 6 months to dig deep and realize what I truly wanted. And even after those 6 months, I just wanted to pay my bills because I wanted to feel less uncomfortable with my life. Then I had to adjust again and again and again and again and again. And eventually it became, I wanted to bring Matt home full time. I brought him home full time. Why did I want to bring him home? There's a lot of different reasons why I want to bring him home, because why should I get the opportunity to be home full time? Why should I get the privilege to be home full time and he can't? Right? That was my biggest thing. Why should I have that opportunity to be able to be home with my kids and watch them and witness them grow up and him not? Right? So I started thinking about that. I started thinking about I have lived like my whole entire life. And when I first started this business, it was really bad. It's not so much anymore. But when I first started, I had a really hard time sitting out in my backyard because I was always terrified someone was going to walk around the corner. I know it sounds really crazy to a lot of people, but that was literally my biggest fear for like the longest time. And so that was one of the biggest reasons why I brought Matt home in the first place. It was like a safety blanket. I knew that if he was home, nothing would touch me. And nothing would hurt my kids and nothing would, and so that was my biggest why. You have to pull it from your emotions, no matter how crazy it sounds, no matter how wild it sounds, it has to boil down to that. You're not going to feel like it, but you have to show up anyways, no matter what. Number 2, it is okay to outgrow people. I'm glad I'm not alone. It is okay to outgrow people. We all, and I want to explain this in kind of an analogy that I just have thought about multiple times. We're all in this box. Okay. Think about us and everybody that we're surrounded by are in this box. Okay. This box has a ceiling on it. This box has sides on it. And so when you start outgrowing that box, imagine yourself getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's kind of like a puppy in a kennel. Okay. Think about your puppy going into a small kennel and then eventually getting to be 125 pounds like my dog. It's not going to happen. He's going to outgrow that kennel and he's not going to be able to fit in that kennel anymore. And it's going to make him uncomfortable. He might cry all the time. Guys, this is why most of us have anxiety, because we are outgrowing the people around us and we are too afraid to get away from them. We are too afraid of what they will think of us. We are too afraid of what they will say to us. And so we are stuck in this cage and we force ourselves to stay stuck. We are telling ourselves that we are stuck in this cage in fear of what those people that are in that cage with us will think of us when we go outside of that cage. When we finally break free and they are still stuck, what will they say? Have you guys ever been there before? I know I have. So here I was sitting in this cage, this big dog in an extra small kennel, and I just wanted to break free, and I would cry and I would get overwhelmed and I would get upset. And most of the time people would ask me, why are you upset? And I knew deep down inside why, but I was not willing to be honest with myself and with them because I was afraid of the rejection. I was afraid of them outcasting me. I was afraid of them abandoning me, right? I was afraid of what it would look like if I stepped outside of that cage and they were all stuck on the inside of it. But I want you to know it's okay to outgrow people. It's going to happen. You're not meant to be stuck in that cage your entire life. You are not meant to be this dog that's growing and growing and growing and growing. And I say dog in the most loving way. Okay. You're meant to be this just grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And you're meant to bust out of that cage and get out of it. You're meant to be on the outside looking in. We are not meant to stay in that. Right. And so it's important to understand that when you're looking at your life and you're looking about your fears and your doubts and everything, where is it stemming from? Who is telling you you can't? Who are you so afraid of judging you? What are you afraid of? You know, what are you afraid of happening when it comes down to it? Right. But the thing is that the more that you grow, and this is something that I've noticed personally along my journey, the more that I grow and outgrow that old version of myself, the more I see that I never saw before. Does anybody feel that same exact way? The more that you read, the more you listen to podcasts, it's almost like the more that you outgrow that old version of yourself, the more BS you see that's going on around you. The more manipulation you see, the more BS that you see, the more hurt that you see, the more you see other people trying to hold you in this box, right? You start to see those people and what they've been doing this entire time that you never got to see before. But now your eyes are open and you are awake. That's meant to happen. You're meant to wake up. You are meant to outgrow that box that you were put in, because that box was never meant for you. You were put in that cage. You were put in that kennel by other people. Other people told you that you weren't worth it. Other people told you that you couldn't make it. Other people were telling you that you weren't good enough to do it, but you are. And you're proving it with every single step that you take, every single thing that you do to outgrow that version of yourself. You are learning how to become the best version of yourself. And it is making those people that are inside that cage still uncomfortable, worried that you're going to leave them behind. That's why they're getting loud. That's why they are saying things that they wouldn't normally say, right? Or maybe they would normally say it, right? But you're noticing it a lot more. It's feeling this, you're feeling this unsettled feeling in your stomach. You're waking up with this friction, this feeling of like, should I wean myself away from them? Should I not? Are they meant to be in my life? You're asking God, like, what do I do here? How do I remove this? Can you close these doors for me? Right? You're trying to figure it out. And I know this because I literally went through this with my own mother. My own mother, extremely negative. I started outgrowing that box that I was put in at a very, very young age. I'm talking 3 years old, put in this box and told what I should or shouldn't do and what I should or shouldn't look like and who I should and shouldn't talk to and what I should or shouldn't act like. And I had to outgrow that box that I was put in. And I had to learn that it was okay for me to outgrow those people that put me there in the first place, because I can't live my purpose and the life that I was called to do living in that box. I was never meant to be there in the first place. I was caged and I wasn't meant to be. Okay. So that was one of the biggest things that really changed everything for me. Understanding that, like I said before, God sees things that we don't see. And it boils down to that. I'm dead serious. He is seeing it. And that's why you're hearing more than you normally would hear. That's why you're feeling that uneasy feeling. That uneasy feeling is there for a reason. It's because you're not meant to be in that box anymore. You're meant to outgrow it. You're meant to make a change. That feeling there is forcing you into that change. You have to listen to it and you have to outgrow that version of yourself. So that's number 2. Number 3, don't be afraid to show people your new self. Okay. I come from a very people-pleasing background. There was a lot of manipulation that happened growing up in my life, in our home, all along the way. I went through relationships that were just like that. I found people in my life who would control me, so I felt better about my life. Okay. And I want you to understand that the more that you grow, the more other people are going to distance themselves from you. Okay. So I noticed this for the very first time 2 years ago when I was sitting outside at a fire, which we always have in the summertime. We have fires all the time at our house. If you've ever been to our house, you know, we have fires, we have cookouts. We love that. We love to entertain. We love to have people over. We love to help people and feed people. And we love that kind of stuff. Okay. That's just Matt and I's nature. That's how we are. We just, it makes us feel good. But I was sitting around this fire one night and I was having a conversation, and my mind started going deeper than what that person that I was having the conversation with was. Okay. She was not trying to go as deep as my mind was bringing me. Okay. The reason why my mind was bringing me that deep in conversation was because I had outgrown the old version of myself that would have shrugged it off and said, you know, it is what it is type of lifestyle, same shit, different day. Right. That's what was expected of me. She didn't expect what happened next. And I told her exactly what was on my heart. I had told her exactly how I felt and how, you know, life, this is what life is. And I went very deep and very sentimental with everything that I was talking about. Very, very deep. And she didn't understand it. And it made her extremely uncomfortable. That person weaned herself out of my life that night. And I have not heard from her the same way that I always used to. So we are going to set boundaries. We are going to become the best version of ourselves. We are going to let them wean themselves out. Because like I said, God sees things that we don't see. He saw what that person was saying without me around, without me sitting at the table. He saw what that person was wanting me to say that I wasn't willing to say anymore. He saw that that person needed to hear those things, but maybe wasn't open to it. Right? He sees things that we don't see. And so that person weaned herself out, and I'm okay with it. I'm at peace with it because I know that I was 100% myself that night for the very first time in a very long time, probably ever. I was so honest and I was so upfront. And as the conversations get more in depth, those people around you that are not meant to be in your life will wean themselves out. So don't ever stop growing because the other people around you are afraid of the next level conversation. Right? Small minds stick with small minds. And you don't want to be that small mind. You want to outgrow that version of yourself because your life will never change until you do. Your life will never grow until you do. So this was a huge wake up call for me 2 years ago when I heard this. And then the second part, when I was talking about just having to set boundaries, having to outgrow that box, people start to feel the energy that it's different. You're different, right? You start attracting people into your life that are different. And every single level that you go to, right? After this Zoom call, you're going to be a different person. You're going to hear things that you probably haven't heard before. You're going to learn things that you probably haven't heard before. You might have already learned something on this Zoom call that you never learned, or you haven't heard in a really long time, or whatever, right? You're going to take that back. And now you're going to start noticing things that people are doing in your life. You're going to start opening your eyes to it. You're going to start understanding these things. And because you're going to that next level of being, you're going to start attracting people who are on that next level. So there's people who are coming into my life that I never thought would have ever noticed me. And I'm thankful because they have so much more to offer than those people that were there at the bottom. You see what I'm saying? I am finding people who are actually there for me, who are actually loving, who are actually caring, who are actually excited for me. Those people who are willing to talk to me, whether they're in my business or not, they are finding me. They are being attracted to me. They are being excited to see me. And they would have never noticed me if I would have continued to stay around the people that were still stuck in that cage, that were dying for me to come back. Okay. Number 4, let your kids and your family see and hear your growth. When I first started this business, I want you guys to know that I never told Matt that I even started this business. He had no idea. And honestly, Matt was just go with the flow. When I told him I started a business and I'm about to start growing on a hefty level, and you're going to have to either buckle up or ex-nay the premises, he decided to hop on the board and let's go, hop on the train, let's go. And so I have always been super loud in my growth with my family. And I made it very aware to him when I first started that I'm about to grow and become a totally different person. And I'm really excited about it. At first, they're not going to understand, I promise you. And some of them will never understand it. I've witnessed this so much in this business. It's not even funny. But like I said, it all goes back to God sees things that we don't see. And so if someone is removing themselves from your life right now, it's because they're meant to be gone. They're holding you back from your next level. They're holding your whole family from moving forward. And it's important that we acknowledge that, right? So I was very loud with my personal development. I let my kids know. Bailey and I do personal development together every single morning on her way to school, because I want to make sure that I stop the cycle that had been created for me when I was a child. I want to make sure that she doesn't grow up negative. I want to make sure that she grows up extremely positive. I want to make sure she loves herself first. I want to make sure that she takes care of her and doesn't cater to other people, because in this world, it can be very, very easy. Am I right? And so I make sure that I take care of letting her know what I'm doing, letting her know the things that I'm learning. And Bo, he's too young to know these things, but I know he can feel my presence. I know he can feel things shifting every single day. I know he can feel that, the way that I treat him is different, and the way that I talk to Matt is different. I know he can probably feel, me outgrowing that old version of myself. So whether you think that they can or you think that they can't, they can. And the way that you talk and the way that you present yourself matters. The way that you grow matters. Your energy spreads. And it's so important to know that. A lot of people around you too, and this is something I noticed as well. Like, we're just going to talk Matt, for example. Okay. Matt's my fiance. If you guys didn't know, we've been together for 10 years now. It'll be 10 years in June. And we've known each other our entire life since we were 2 years old. And so he comes from a very similar background, but not as toxic as mine. Okay. He never had anybody to share personal development with him. He didn't even know what it was, just like the rest of us, right? Raise your hand if you did not know what personal development was before you started this business or before you started talking to your upline in general. I didn't personally know. I knew nothing about it. Okay. I didn't figure it out. And I was 24 when I started this business. I did not learn personal development until I was 25. So, not all of us really knew about it. And so, like me, Matt didn't know about it and he didn't understand it. And I have been the one who has had to go first. So if you've got some people who are in your family, and not just Matt, even like Matt's parents, people who we are super close with, they don't even know what personal development, well, they do know now because I talk about it all the time, right? But they didn't know at first and they weren't accepting of it at first. And the way that I was shifting so much at first was very uncomfortable for them. But you have to understand that the more that you stay consistent without growing that old version of yourself and setting boundaries, those people who love you and truly care about you and are truly for you and excited for you and on your team, like on your team in the game of life, those people will follow you. They will come your way. They will gravitate to you. They will be more excited to see you than they ever have been before. It's going to take them time because your dreams and your goals to run this business and to become a better version of yourself was not laid on their hearts. They didn't make the decision to start this business for you. You made that decision. So if you made it and it was laid on your heart and it was in your head every single day before you got started, then how can we expect for them to share that same exact passion when it wasn't laid on their hearts? They weren't having the conversations with their upline, right? They weren't talking about all the things that we were talking about before we got started. They didn't witness the same things. They didn't have the same uneasy feeling of, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? Right? So it is so important to understand that you're going to have to be the one who goes first. And those who are there for you will come with you. They will support you. They will, at first it'll be like friction, but then they will start to gravitate to you because they will see how different you are. I have the best relationship with my in-laws now that I've ever had. And it's because they have accepted and understood that I am outgrowing the old version of myself and they're coming with me. Did I ever think that I would ever see that? No, never in a million years. I'm going to be honest with you. Matt said that he would never even expect it either. But they are listening to what I'm saying. They're listening to the things that I'm talking about. They're acknowledging how different I am and how much I've grown and how much wiser I am and how much I think outside of the box when they never have. And they're starting to acknowledge that. So just know that if you've got someone in your life who it's like friction when you talk about these things, the people who are meant to be on your side and are meant to come with you are going to come with you. The people who are not meant to come with you are going to remove themselves from your life, and God will remove them in a big way. They will give you the clear sign. You will just know, like you're not supposed to. That friction will be there so bad, that heartache will be there so bad that you know that you need to do it for yourself and for your kids and for your family in general. So that's number 4. Number 5, start with your mindset first thing in the morning. I can't say this enough. I talk to people every single day that just get started in this business that don't understand the concept of how important it is. And I am going to share it with you because this is my favorite analogy. And I know I've heard multiple of you guys share it on your Zoom calls too, but think about this. Okay. You get on an airplane, and how many of you guys, just show of hands, how many of you guys have been on an airplane before? Okay. Let me tell you, for those of you who have not been on an airplane ever, when you get on an airplane and you're getting ready to go up and fly, they're about to take off. As soon as they get on the runway and they start going down the runway, they send their flight attendants out. Their flight attendants stand in 2 different areas on the plane, and they explain what to happen in case of an emergency, or like a crash, or you have to an emergency land on the water, or an emergency land at, wherever they are. They explain those things to you. And one of the things they explain to you is that when you're going down, if like the doors open or something like that, you guys will lose oxygen. And at that point, they want you to put your oxygen mask on before you help the person next to you. The reason why they say that is because if you help the person next to you and then you help yourself, you will die helping somebody else. Right? So why not help put your own mask on so you can help multiple people? Because you're no help if you're dead. Right? And so think about personal development in the same exact way. Think about your personal development is in that mask. Okay. If you don't put your personal development and you don't fill your cup up, you don't fill your lungs first before you start helping other people that are in your life. I'm talking your kids. I'm talking your husband. I'm talking your coworkers. I'm talking your friends. I'm talking, you wake up early in the morning and you get a call from your mom and she's bitching about something. Okay. Instantly, your mask is not on and you're helping someone else, and the rest of your day is crap. Why? Because you didn't put your mask on first. You didn't help yourself first. You didn't fill your lungs up first. You went and you took care of everybody else and took care of their emotions and their feelings and the things that they're going through. And I say this about your business as well. Eventually, every single one of you guys will have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 people that are going to be on your team. You're going to have multiple messages in your inbox bright and early in the morning. It happens every single day for me. I do not respond back to my messages until I get my own business and my own mindset set for my business first and for my life first. Because how am I supposed to pour into someone who's having a rough day if I just started my day and haven't even had a cup of coffee? I haven't even gotten my own thinking cap on. I haven't even filled up my own cup to tell myself that I don't hate myself today, that I actually love myself today, right? If my anxiety is already through the roof because my children are crazy in the morning and I have not even gotten my personal development done. Have you ever been there before where your kids wake up extremely early and you have not even done a single thing for your business or for your mindset, and all of a sudden all hell is breaking loose in your house and you're screaming like a monster because you haven't gotten a damn thing done today and you're overwhelmed and you're anxiety ridden and you don't know what to do, right? This is so important. Fill your cup up first. I was explaining this to someone the other day too, and this is another really great analogy, okay? If you're not filling your cup up, let's just say I've got this cup right here, okay? I've got this cup and it's full of water, and I am trying to fill up 10 cups at once underneath it, but this cup is empty. How am I supposed to pour into anybody else's cup when this cup is empty? Okay, think about it like that. And I was explaining it in a little bit of a different light, but when it comes down to it, you can't pour from an empty cup. And another thing is you can't pour into multiple cups all at once. If you are trying to, let's just say we have 10 cups lined up in a row right here, and I'm trying to pour into every single one of them at once, what's going to happen? It's going to go everywhere. It's going to go everywhere. It's going to be a big mess. I'm probably going to cuss a little bit. I'm probably going to go crazy. I'm probably going to be like, oh my gosh, now I got to clean up the floor and my anxiety is going to go through the roof and I'm going to flip out because I'm trying to do too many things at once. Right? This was related to multitasking. If you guys didn't get the hint on that, I was talking about multitasking, and I was talking about trying to take care of your kids and work your business and do personal development and trying to do all these things at once. You can't do it. Everything will go crazy. You will feel chaos because you are bringing it on yourself by doing everything all at once. This is why multitasking can be a great thing, but it can also be a really bad thing. And so this is why we get started early in the morning, filling our own cup up so we have the ability to help other people. And then we fill other people's cup one at a time instead of trying to target it all at once. Okay. So this is something that I learned along the past almost 5 years now that really, really helped me. One of the things that just the last thing, Ed Milet had a podcast the other day. I dropped it in the chat for you guys. I don't know if any of you listen to it or whatever. If you haven't, go back and listen to it at some point. He was being interviewed by someone, and he was talking about how when he first started his journey in self-development and personal growth, nobody in his family understood. Everybody in his family was extremely negative. Every single event that he went to at his family, like Christmas, Thanksgiving, all the things, they were so negative. And he started noticing it. So he started having to set boundaries with those people who are negative and saying, I'm no longer available for things that make me feel like crap. I am no longer available for these events where everybody's talking crap about everybody else. Okay. I recently had to do this myself. And it hit home for me because when it comes down to it, when you start setting those boundaries and you start being loud about your mindset and what you are no longer available for, people might not listen at first, but eventually if they want you in their life and if you are meant to be in their life, they will find the way. They will come with you. Those people who are not meant to be will wean themselves out. And it is okay to outgrow them 100% because you're finding your people along the way too that will replace those holes that are in your life, right? So it is so important. Number 5, oh no, I already went over number 5. Sorry. Number 6, when things happen, when bad things happen, okay, and this was a mindset shift for me that changed a lot of different things, okay? When bad things happen, we're very, very quick to say negative things. Okay. And I know all of us have been here. Every single one of us, you might be here in your life right now. And I want to take a minute just to shift your mindset because everything that's happening in your life right now is happening for a reason. And everything in your life right now, all the hard things you're going through, this season of your life that is extremely hard that you are going through, that you're feeling like you're dragging your feet through the mud every single day, worried, waiting, wondering, when is it going to end? When is this going to end? Right? It is all happening to prepare you for that next chapter of your life because you will never survive that next chapter unless you get through this one first. Unless you go through these hard things that make you stronger right now. Okay. So it's really important to understand that instead of when and this is a habit that we've created in ourselves, that when life happens, all heck breaks loose, craziness happens in our life. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe your car broke down. Maybe your mom is mad at you for something. Maybe your sister called you bitching about something. Maybe your husband is leaving. Maybe, your sister is, super rude to you that day. Maybe, you're just going through all of these things and these hard things that are in your life. Instead of looking at it like, oh man, my life sucks. This is hard. I can't make it through this. Pity me, poor me, calling someone up just to complain about it, calling someone up just to see if they can reassure you that this is a shitty thing that you're going through, right? They're not going to do anything. They're not going to serve you. They're not going to do anything for you, but reassure you of all the things that you don't want to keep in your life, right? They're going to be there for you, but they're going to be there for you to hold you down right where you are. It is so important that you understand that instead of looking at it like, man, this is shitty. I'm not getting any loyal customers. I'm not signing anybody. I'm not making any money, all the things. Instead of saying things like that, start saying things. What am I supposed to learn from this? When I first started my business, I had a lot of people tell me no. Millions of people tell me no. Okay. You have to understand that at some point I had to switch it around and I had to stop saying this sucks. Why is this happening to me? Why am I the only one? Why are they saying this? I'm never going to make it anywhere if this keeps happening. How am I supposed to make money if everybody's telling me no, right? I know every single one of us has felt this before. I know it. We have to switch it around to say, how am I supposed to learn from this? What can I learn from this season? If this is happening consistently every single day, what is God trying to teach me? What am I supposed to take away from this experience? Today is hard, but what can I learn from it? Why did this happen? Right? We all here believe that everything's happening for a reason, right? If everything's happening for a reason, here's your wake up call. It's happening because you're meant to learn something from it. You're supposed to walk away with more value than you think that you are. You're not supposed to walk away from it just to call up your family member and complain and say, well, this isn't working. You're not supposed to go through it so that you can go to your upline and say, hey, listen, I'm not getting any yeses. They're all saying no. You're meant to walk away from it and say, okay, if I'm doing this and this is happening consistently, how can I do it differently tomorrow? How can I show up better tomorrow? What can I start doing differently that's going to change things for me? How can I look at it in a different light? What am I supposed to learn here? I went diamond, you guys, and I want to share this story with you, and it's super vulnerable, but I went diamond and I had created a really, really close friend. I called her my best friend at the time. I talked to her every single day. I went diamond. I loved her like a sister. I talked to her about literally everything. Everything. We call each other every single day. I went diamond. Right after I went diamond, a month later, she quit. At first, my mind instantly went back to the old Chelsea and said, why would this happen to me? Why would God bring me all the way here just to let me down? Why would this happen? Why did I get this far only to get this far? I would say things like, I'm never going to get back to the top. Like, how am I supposed to get to that next level if I keep getting knocked down? I don't want to rebuild because I'm afraid that someone's going to do it again. I said these things to myself, seriously. And the minute I'm telling you guys, I know, the minute I switched my mindset from why is this happening to me? I can't believe that she did this to me. I can't believe that this happened. I can't believe that I can't, that I fell so hard. The moment I switched it from that to what can I learn from this? How can I better build my business this next time? How can I grow my mindset? How can I build relationships more? How can I make sure that things are solid? How can I remain this and keep this honesty with the girls that are on my team? How can I love my team and do the things for them that they need and it be reciprocated and sent back to me, right? Like, how can I serve other people and actually, you know what I mean? Like, I learned so much in that season. I learned so much in that season of my life. And it's because I stopped looking at it from a victim mindset. I stopped looking at it like, oh my gosh, poor me, my whole entire chart collapsed. Oh my gosh, my paychecks went from $4,000 a month to, a grand every single month because of this, right? I don't know exactly how low they went or where they went or anything, but I went from saying those things to saying, what can I learn from this? How can I rebuild better next time? How can I pull myself up from this? How do I get the momentum going again? Right? I started switching my mindset from victim to victor. I started saying it and I started thinking it and I started saying these things out loud. I'm going to rebuild. I'm going to find my best friends. I'm going to find my team that's going to be there. I'm going to find the team that I can be there for. I'm going to talk to these people. I'm going to build a relationship with all the girls on my team. I'm going to be that leader. I'm going to find those leaders. I'm going, and I just kept saying it over and over and over again, because these are the things that I was meant to learn. And I dove deep in personal development. I read multiple different books, listened to podcasts every single day. And I started telling myself where my life was going. Because if you don't tell your life where it's going to tell you, and it's not going to be a pretty place. It's going to be hard. Just like your time. If you don't tell your time where to go, it tells you where to go. And it becomes really, really rough. Okay. So, I wanted to really close this up and just share with you guys those stories, because I feel like someone here needed to hear this tonight, that, you need to understand a lot about outgrowing the old version of you, and that it's okay to outgrow other people. It's okay to be loud about what you're learning, and, what you're learning that's changing your life, and how it's changing your life, and what it's impacting. And it's okay to do your personal development before you wake up, or before you really get up for the day. It's okay to make that a priority. It's okay if you tell people, hey, I got to listen to this really quick, or I'm going to go read for a little bit, and they look at you like you got 10 heads. Okay. I get it, because I've been there. People are not going to understand. This was set on your heart for a reason. And just know that if you were in a valley, and I wrote this down on a whim tonight. It was crazy, but if you're in a valley, this valley was sent to you, and you're going through it because it's preparing you and making you stronger for that next season of your life. So everything that you're going through right now, every no that you're getting right now, every rude person that you're getting a message from, all your family that doesn't understand, maybe your husband's giving you crap about this. Maybe you're going through a really rough time in your relationship, or maybe you're going through a really rough time with your relationship with your family, or, your mom, your dad, your sister, your cousin, whoever it is. Just know that this moment is meant to happen. I know it's hard, but it's meant to happen, because you can't be that girl that you want to be. You can't be her without going through this first. Okay. So just know that it's coming, but it can only come when you switch your mindset from pity me, poor me, I can't move, to I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to change my life. I'm going to close the doors that God is telling me and reminding me to close every single day. I'm going to show up for myself every single day, regardless of what they say. I'm going to make sure that I am loud about where I'm going, because those people who are meant to follow me will follow me, and those who are not will wean themselves out. Okay. So I hope you guys like this. Tell me what you guys think in the chat after this. If you have not taken a screenshot, screen recording, or if you did, please drop it in the chat. Put it on Instagram so that people know that we are learning and growing together. It creates FOMO. It helps people see where you're going in your business. I love you guys so freaking much. And I'm so glad we get to hop on these Zoom together. And I hope you have a great day.